All right, here we go. We have a summer edition, ladies and gentlemen. Look at Bob Ryan. He's ready for the beach or the pool. I'm outdoors, and Goodman is still, well, he's just tied to his desk.
I haven't showered.
He hasn't showered because his job never ends. Welcome to the Bob Ryan, Jeff Goodman Tanguay Along for the Ride podcast. We will be with you throughout the offseason here with CLNS.com and CLNS Media as we talk about the offseason of the NBA. So, gentlemen, let's get right to it. Bob, I'll start with you. Our good friend Kyrie Irving has opted back in with the Brooklyn Nets. Are the Nets disappointed he opted back in? And are you surprised he didn't have anywhere else to go?
From all we gather, what the bottom line here is that no one wanted him for him other than the Lakers. And they weren't going to pay him what he wanted to start with, remember? So this in a better world, this would be a sobering thing. It might make him cause to re-examine his whole isness, but it won't. He'll just reinforce him that he's right and the world's wrong. And we just don't understand him and never will, because how can we understand someone at that incredible intellectual level and a level of feel that, he's just a wholly better human being than the rest of us. So, nobody wanted him that's what it was. So he's back with the Nets.
It's amazing to me that we're at this point. Now, again, sure, we saw this coming to some degree, but still the fact that we are there and we are looking at one of the best players in the league, one of the most talented guards we've ever seen in the NBA, and the fact that nobody wants him. And it's not like he did something so egregious to people, right? Like there's some guys that are just such bad people. It's not like you could say that about Kyrie. He's just so out there and not a great teammate, but for different reasons. I mean, let me read you his quote when he basically said he was coming, quote, "Normal people keep the world going, but those who dare to be different lead us into tomorrow. I've made my decision to opt in, see you in the fall." I mean, come on, man. Like, enough of this bullshit. Like, enough. Just play ball or don't play ball and be done. But I think everybody's tired of it now. Cleveland was tired of it. Boston was tired of it. The Nets really are tired of it, but there's nothing they can do about it. And nobody else wanted this dude now.
It's just not worth that. As great as he is, it's a great paradox, because I will go on record, and we're all in agreement. A guy, he does things at his size that are as good as anything anyone has ever done. He gets to the basket at will. Ambidexterity, he can play. Oh God, yes, but it's the whole package has proven over time to be not worth it. Yeah. The last great thing he did was make the most important single shot in a decade. When winning a championship. Hooray! You did it. We can't take that away from you. But from that point on,
all downhill.
From that point on, leaving Cleveland for reasons that will forever remain, murky.
We know what they were. We know what they were. He just wouldn't actually own up to it and fess up to it. When I remember I asked him multiple times when he came to Boston, and he wouldn't even acknowledge that, hey, I wanted to leave Cleveland because I didn't want to be LeBron's little brother. I wanted to lead my own team. Well, look at how that went in Boston. And then he teams up with KD, the second best player on the planet, and he can't figure it out there either.
No.
Well, so that's just it. So if you're the Nets, what do? I mean, does any sort of buyout make sense? Because obviously he's not, this is not working.
Are you better without him? That's right. The question right now.
I mean, that's the thing.
Which is amazing that we're here and you're talking about a buyout. And at first, Gary, I'm saying, you're out of your mind.
I know.
Like how can you even say that? But on the other end, you're saying to yourself, you know what? Like, maybe you are better without him. And it's KD and a healthy Ben Simmons and some of these other pieces. You get Joe Harris back with Seth Curry. And, hey, this team is not losing. They're not being swept next year in the playoffs in the first round.
No. Well, guys, it's the reason I bring it up. And, Jeff, you're right. The initial reaction is correct. Are you out of your mind? But, Bob, Now in the NBA, to me, because there is no one dominant player, you could say the freak, but it's not like Jordan, Bird, LeBron,
No.
Kobe. I mean, I don't think we're there. Culture is vital. Culture is vital. If you take a look at the teams that are exciting to watch, Chicago, Miami, Memphis. I mean, I stay up late to watch teams now because they're good teams. I mean, Memphis to me is a terrific example of culture.
Boston became a good example. Boston became
a great example, Jeff. So my question to you, Bob, is to create a culture, do you want Kyrie Irving in Simmons' head?
I don't. But
so you pay him to go away.
So I know it's a lot of money, but this is this is the craziness of it all. It is a bizarre conversation, but it's a necessary one, and it's a real one. It's just this is a guy who had 60-point game for them. He had 4 50-point games, I believe. This is had for them, But the question, it's in 4 words: is he worth it? For the overall, for your own team's mental health, for your team's stability. He's not reliable, and you don't know which way. What's going to be the reason you won't be having him? There'll be something. There always is, and apparently he's doubled down. In case anybody was wondering, with that quote that Jeff read to us, so I saw that quote. I rolled my eyes. I laughed. That's Kyrie being Kyrie. Nothing's changed. He's doubling down on who he is.
But to wrap up this portion of the show, to Jeff's point, he's not a jerk. I mean, he's not a bad guy.
In real life, apparently, he's quite.
But he's just. And I almost feel I'm
moody.
at the point.
Yeah,
I'm at the point right now with him, because in this era, fortunately, we have all been awoken to mental illness. Now, I'm not going to diagnose anybody, but I feel bad for him. I'm at the point right now where I'm gone from being angry to I feel bad for him because it's going to be gone. I mean, the reality is it's going to be gone and he's going to have missed it. And I think that it's a shame for him. And I think it's a shame for us. So moving on to the next topic. Jeff is on the soapbox with Brunson and the Knicks. Go ahead, Jeff Goodman.
The Knicks are clearing off everything to be able to get Jalen Brunson and maybe more. But starting with Jalen Brunson, they hired his father, Rick Brunson, as an assistant coach. Leon Rose, his son, is Jalen Brunson's agent. And Leon Rose obviously ran CAA before he came over and is running the Knicks, which I thought was a questionable pick by one James Dolan. But listen, they're going to get Jalen Brunson. And I love the dude. He won 2 national titles at Villanova. He was a huge piece to Dallas's success this past year. He showed that without Luka on the court, he could be an alpha dog. He could be a number 1 guy and win playoff games. But I just don't know if he's worth clearing the deck for and maxing out to get Jalen Brunson. But you know what? Listen, they got to get momentum somehow. They got to be relevant somehow. And maybe it starts with Jalen Brunson and he makes Julius Randle and RJ Barrett better. And then maybe you can attract another free agent once you start to get some momentum, right? So I kind of get it, but I also look at it as, man, that's a lot of money to spend for Jalen Brunson if that's what's going to happen here.
Well, I, too, have been a fan of his since his Villanova days, and I remember having a conversation with Rick Carlisle about him, a couple of years ago, and the virtues that he brings to the team. And yet, I find it hard to believe that he's this valued. Although he did have a 41-point playoff game, did he not? And he's elevated. Maybe he's reached a level that I was unprepared to acknowledge. So I've had to backtrack here, and maybe I'm underselling the guy that I actually like to start with. I just had him. I said, I wanted this guy. I've been fantasizing here about getting him here, but not to start, but to be in the mix, to be on my team. But the idea that he is that coveted by anybody, and the Knicks who need something badly, it blows my mind away. And I still can't get there to think that he's worth, and I like him. I want him, but he's not worth, to me, that kind of money.
Guys, that's the state of the league, right? People are going to overpay. We saw it with Major League Baseball. We've certainly seen it in the NFL with specific players, but that's the point we're at now. I mean, the NBA, they're going to overpay, Bob.
it speaks to the Knicks' desperation, right, Jeff? Don't you think? The Knicks are.
Yeah.
Well,
Here's
Dolan's
what I
got
would
a
say.
job. I mean,
but
you know.
he's not the marquee
Okay.
name that's going to dazzle the all but the really sophisticated fan. I don't think that. If
Bob, here's what I'll say. All right, ready? I'm going to go through it with you, and you tell me where he fits. We're gonna run through a few guys, okay, at the point guard position, and you tell me where he fits in right now, okay?
Okay.
Steph, no, obviously Steph's better. Luka's better. Ja's better. Trae Young's better. Damian Lillard's better. After that, I'm going to give you some other. Those are Chris Paul's better, although he's 36, 37. Drew Holiday. Who you take, Jalen Brunson or Drew Holiday?
Holiday.
Okay.
Yeah, flip a coin.
De'Aaron Fox.
I don't know enough about him. I mean, I haven't. He's out there and then
Yep.
Toss-up. These are all
I know
toss-up.
LaMelo Ball or Jalen Brunson.
Man, I might take LaMelo.
Hello.
Okay. Lonzo Ball.
I might take either one.
Toss
Same.
up.
Yeah, I mean, I might take both LaMelo and Lonzo. Yeah.
Fred VanVleet.
I might go with
Toss up.
yeah.
Toss up, right? Shea Alexander.
Brunson.
Toss up.
Right. we
All
got-
these guys.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is there's about 8 guys that are better at his position, and then he's somewhere in the range of 9 to probably 15.
Mhm. I'll buy
So he's
that.
probably a mid-tier point guard. Is that worth $30 million a year? Probably not. But if you're the Knicks, you got to overpay because you're not getting one of those top 7 guys.
John Wall was bought out by the Rockets, and the rumors are flying. They say he's going to sign with the Clippers, or maybe he already has. But it's a done deal. Does he have anything left, Jeff?
We don't know. You know, he's been off for a year. Certainly, he's not the John Wall of old, right? The maybe as fast from baseline to baseline a guy as I've ever seen, and big and strong and athletic and all that. But what I will say is, we said this about Derrick Rose. Okay, we said this about Derrick Rose, and he came back as a completely different player. Right? They were similar in a lot of ways. Right? Derrick was a little more explosive. John Wall was a little faster. Neither were great shooters. And Derrick Rose came back a completely different player.
Isn't
Cerebral.
Wall bigger?
They're about the same.
I
they're
always
about the
look at
same
Wall
size.
as thicker, kind of bigger. So I wonder if that would be harder on his body. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. All I'm saying is John Wall doesn't have to come back as the old John Wall, right? He can come back as the new John Wall. And if Kawhi comes back as the old Kawhi and Paul George comes back as the old Paul George, they could be fun to watch, and they could be relevant, is all I'm saying. After a year of kind of irrelevance, are they winning the whole thing? Probably not. But I like John Wall. Listen, I remember seeing John Wall. I think I was the first one to ever see John Wall in AAU ball. And man, was he a blur, like an absolute blur. And I know he's been through a lot injury wise and, ballooned up weight wise. I hope he can kind of find a home in LA. And I guess, the bigger question I'd have is how focused is he at this point? Right. I mean, he's making still $47 million. They bought him out of that. How focused is he? Does he care enough to be the old John Wall, especially in LA? That kind of scares me a little bit.
He'll be 32 in September. So there's no way anyone can reasonably expect that rocket ship that we once knew to reemerge. I think if he can be as good in 22-23 as Rose was in 2021 for the Knicks, that would be a sufficient bonus, a plus for the Clippers. Mr. Rose had a terrific impact on the Knicks until he got hurt again. He was really, I'm thinking he can be that good. Yeah, that's a very good question. But I have no reason personally to doubt the motivation thing. I mean, I'd like to think he's going to welcome this opportunity. And, the money, of course, has always been, surreal monopoly money that I never could attach him to that level, but it's what it was. So I'm curious, frankly. I'm just very curious, and I wish him well. I hope he can at least become what Derrick Rose was last year. not in 2021, he was a major asset to the Knicks. If he can be that good, then the Clippers are back they're back being a pain. They can be used. They can be a dangerous team.
Well, I expect them to come back this year because hopefully, as Bob said, they're all healthy. They should be. I mean, my God, if I'm Bomber and they
we just don't know with Kawhi, Gary.
Yeah,
why he's got to be healthy. He's got to be healthy. But all
three of them, it's funny. All three of those guys have been injury prone lately, right? So that scares you of what are they going to look like come, when the season starts and in the playoffs, are all three going to be healthy?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe you sit them down. I mean, maybe you do the Popovich thing.
Kawhi will. We know Kawhi will.
Load management.
Yes.
So anyways, listen, we gotta be careful with this one. I'm going to, in respect to Bob, who is, and both of you who are true journalists, we're talking about Jaylen Brown's situation. And I want to preface this by saying, guys, these are all rumors. These are all rumors. We're talking about rumors. That he may not be happy, that he doesn't feel respected by the fans here, not appreciated. We got to honor him for his lack of handle in the playoffs. I'd like Jaylen Brown personally a lot. I think he's a great guy. Now, there's all kinds of things on the web about him liking tweets where he's mentioned in a trade. There was a possibility, before the Kyrie Irving thing got settled, that he would go to the Nets. Could he be traded to the Nets, right? So, obviously, Bob, we have a disgruntled player here with the Celtics.
Do we know that? Like you're saying, we don't know he's disgruntled.
Here's my thing, Jeff. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Somebody's getting something from somebody. And I know this makes probably Bob uncomfortable. But, I mean, let's preface this. If Jaylen Brown is unhappy, Bob, this is a really big problem for the Celtics. And what do they do about it?
This is where social media is a menace. We all know that. It's just kind of discussion. This feeling wouldn't have emerged 25 years ago, but it's here. I think I'm just asking. I'm trying to frame the discussion. Are we going to take away from what he's been saying that he feels himself in competition for fan approval with Jason Tatum specifically? Is this like, let's say we're the public is mommy and daddy, and they're the kids, and you love Jason more than me, and look at my points. I always average as many points as him. I'm a great defensive player. I've done this.
I was better in the finals, right?
Yeah, he was better in the finals.
Right.
And yet mommy and daddy still love him more. Why? I mean, I don't think it's the organization that is sending out these messages to him.
Oh, no. It's the fans.
I don't even think it's the media that's sending out these messages to him. So this is where, if he could live in a bubble and stop worrying about what some guys tweeting and Instagramming and TikToking and any other.
They can't. That's the problem. Some of them can't. Some of them do a great job of it. And others read everything. And, they write, maybe he sees my tweets through other people. I know he does. Because I think he's liked them or liked other people commenting on my tweets that he should have been traded or should have been on the block months ago. And I still stand by it. I still stand by the fact that I think Brad Beal is a better player and a better fit for the Celtics. That doesn't take away from the fact that I think Jaylen Brown is a hell of a player, has gotten so much better as a perimeter shooter, but still has a long way to go in terms of his handle and his decision-making.
Yeah, that's the handle thing, which of course was, acutely a problem in the playoffs.
There's something there. I mean, there's something there, and Udoka has to handle it. This is where Ime, I think, earns his money.
Sure. Well, he can connect with these guys better than Brad, right? He will handle it. Instead of Brad might ignore it, he'll handle it. And ultimately, all that matters is how all that should matter is how he feels that the organization treats him, right? And yeah, they might listen, one of Ime's strengths is the fact that I think he can have different relationships with different players. Not every player is the same. You're not treating everybody the same because some guys don't handle the criticism quite as well. So you got to be careful in this day and age. Jason Tatum, and again, the way he's built is different than the way Jaylen Brown is built. So I don't know. I mean, again, I feel like, listen, you're getting paid a ton of money. You're not as good as Jason Tatum. You were better in the NBA Finals, but you're not as good a player as Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum will be a top 5 player in this league in a matter of time, in a clear-cut top 5 player. Right now, we're saying he might be on a given day or a given series, but the consistency isn't there. Jaylen Brown, to me, still, if you're ranking players in the NBA, you're putting Jaylen Brown in that 20 to 30 range for me.
Well, the key word, the verb that I heard back there was should. And, he should, but, that should is conditional. He's not, apparently. But I think there's enough time, and I think I agree with you. This is where coaches now earn their money far more than X's and O's. Right. That's for damn sure, particularly when you have talented people. And this has always been true. So that was Auerbach's greatest strength, ultimately, was he definitely treated them all differently, individually. And so anyway, it's early. It's in the season. We haven't even hit July yet. I'm not panicking on losing him or worrying about. Let's let the people who are getting paid the money to straighten it out do so.
Well, maybe it'll motivate him. Motivate him to continue to get better, because as we all know, the greats, regardless of what happens in the offseason, always manage to get better.
I mean, he's making. Listen. Next year, he's making $28.7 million. Tatum's making $30.3 million. I mean, come on,
Oh, I know, but you know what, Jeff? While you guys look at other things, this is what I look at, because of what Bob said about social media. Every player's worried about their brand. So when Jason Tatum was doing Subway commercials and all of this stuff, and I mean other commercials as well, all of a sudden Jaylen Brown shows up in a shooting contest with Anthony Anderson on Jimmy Kimmel. And what that tells me is that Jaylen tells his people, get me out there. So
he signed with Gary. He signed with Kanye's marketing agency.
Well, that says it all to me.
He was the first one. Now, who is gonna possibly align themselves with that knucklehead Kanye?
Right.
But he did. He's a smart dude. We know.
Well, Kanye's a knucklehead, but when it comes to show business, he's smart. I mean,
no question.
The political side,
somebody's smart with him.
But he's really smart. But to me, you know what I'm saying, guys? You see that, and that's where he's at.
But he's not Jason Tatum.
I know, but he wants to be.
He's not.
But he
thinks he is.
Yeah,
he thinks they're on the same level. But in my opinion, he's the only one who thinks they're on the same level.
All right. Well, I mean, I like the kid, and I hope that they figure it out. Okay, to wrap things up, Adam Himmelsbach of the Globe, I thought, wrote a really nice piece today with Marcus Smart. And Bob, we're going to let Bob tee off this one, because I have done a 180 on Smart because his player's done a 180. After reading this article, I really appreciate Marcus Smart's passion. Is he perfect? No. But, in this article, as Bob can elaborate on, I mean, this losing bothers him, Bob. I mean, he takes this personally.
After the big takeaway from reading the article, the man cares. And I think isn't that what we all want? We, the fans, the media, we like to think that he really cares. Talked about sleepless nights after the aftermath, talk about the things they didn't do, alluded to the terrible turnovers and seemed to take some, personal responsibility as well. I was impressed with it. I think I was very impressed with this. It's not, I think he expressed care, but not despondency. We don't have to put a suicide watch on or anything like that. No, but he's just letting us know, damn it, we could have, should have, damn it, would have done it. And I wish, we could, get a few things back. And that's, I liked everything I read in there, just about in terms of his, you use the word passion, care, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I come away thinking a little more of him even, and I have thought a lot of him of him. And I give him credit to sound off about the point guard thing. Everybody talking about we needed a point guard. Well, I'm the only point guard that ever got us got this group to the finals. And I've been saying for, the duration here, categorically said they need a point guard because I didn't think he could ever be or act like a true one. And he did. And he has since the middle of January, he did. And he has lapses at times. He's not perfect. But, hey, I'll go back to the last play of the first game of the playoffs. And if he doesn't do what he does to start with and give up that ball to the right at the right moment, they don't win that first game. And that's that. And he wouldn't have done that in December. We know that. So I'm okay with this.
And Jeff, he wants to be here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's right. Like Isaiah Thomas couldn't do it. Kyrie couldn't do it. Kemba couldn't do it. He did it. Obviously, he did it with a better team around him than Isaiah Thomas had. Let's be honest.
Sure.
But he did it. And listen, I love Marcus Smart. I've always loved him. He's always been about toughness and winning. The biggest thing was we all were like, well, is he a frontline point guard? Does he make people better consistently? And that's still my question. That remains my question. Is I think his shot selection and decision making has clearly improved. Okay, but to me, I still would like to see him take one more step in that, right? And find guys like Tatum and Brown and get them going a little bit easier instead of having them have to manufacture points. And part of that is on Tatum and Brown. But listen. It's hard to fault what Marcus Smart did this past year. Obviously, in the playoffs, he had some bad games. He had some poor decision-making. He reverted back at times. But overall, man, like, it's hard not to love this dude. It's hard not to love him because, like you said, Gary, he wants to be here, number one. Number two, like Bob said, he's taken accountability, which we all love, right? And number three, he's improved at a time in your career when you don't always see guys change their game. He has looked in the mirror and said, I need to change my game.
Agreed. All right, gents, always a pleasure. Next week, more off-season talk. Enjoy the summer. Bob, I hope you're wearing your flip-flops and you relax.
Moccasins at the moment.
Moccasins. Okay, there you go.
Who owns moccasins still? Only Bob Ryan.
Bob Ryan wears moccasins.
I know. That's what I'm saying. When did you buy those moccasins?
These are brand new. If you're wearing shorts, there's only two options for me: sneakers or moccasin. That's all.
Or flip-flops. You can go flip-flops too, Bob.
I don't know. I do not remotely understand why anyone would willingly wear a flip-flop for any other reason than to go to the beach or to go to the shower room in a public place. Why do you want to walk around the sidewalks in flip-flops? I don't get that. No, I don't do that.
And on that note, the man that has a take on everything, Bob Ryan. We'll see you later.